sport fans. Welcome to America's fastest growing sport, the roller derby. I'm Elmer Anderson. I'll bring you all the color, the rules, the regulations, and all the pertinent facts to help you, wherever you're watching roller derby tonight, to help you understand America's fastest growing sport to the fullest extent. I'm very competently assisted tonight by the Northwest's most popular sportscaster, Mr. Bob Robertson, who I'm quite sure will have a few words to say, recapping the action as we start the start of the second half. Bob, it's all yours.
Right, Elmer, and it's 13-12. The Braves leading the Ravens. Gene Porter moving out on the jam there, number 53, trying to move up on the rear of the pack right now for the Ravens in the light-colored uniforms. The Braves wearing the dark. Mary Pocahontas Upel back to block on Porter now. And by goes Porter on Bobby Mateer, number 7, to score. He's also by Mary Upel, and down goes Gene Porter on a block from Mary Upel, and it's 2 points for the Ravens. The Ravens pick up 2 points to go out in front. The score now 14-13 as the Ravens lead the Braves. The girls on the track for the first skating period here in the second half. The girls and the men alternating in skating periods throughout the game. There are 8 12-minute skating periods in roller derby, and the way points are scored, the jammers start at the rear of the pack. They must work their way through the pack and then around the track, and they score 1 point for every opponent they lap. You'll know the jammers by the striped helmets. There are 2 jammers on each team on any one jam. They are the players wearing the striped helmets. Only a jammer with a striped helmet may score by lapping an opponent, and only the lead jammer may cut off the jam with a signal of hands on the hips. Now the jammers are ready, and here we go once again. Jamming for the Braves in the dark uniforms, Gail Fund, number 4, and Mary Upel, number 8. Around the outside goes 56 of the Ravens. That's Margaret Brady. Margaret Brady out in front, and Gail Fund, number 4. Also on the jam now for the Braves. Those 2 flying skaters out ahead of the pack at the present time, the only 2 jammers out there. Gail Fund, number 4 of the Braves, takes a block now from Margaret Brady, and Brady goes out in front as they battle for that lead. The lead jammer may cut off the jam, of course. Either of these 2 jammers might come up on the rear of the pack and score. Brady on the inside, blocks back on Fund. And, of course, there's lots of action back in that pack. Now Fund again goes to the lead as Brady follows around that bank track. These girls will attain speeds of better than 30 miles an hour on the track that is banked as much as 45 degrees on the turns. They literally fly over the Masonite boards. Watch the action now as they move up on the rear of the pack. Either of these jammers in the striped helmet may score. Each team has a skater in scoring position here. Gail Fund moves up on the rear of the pack. Loretta Behrens, number 54, trailing the pack right now in a blocking spot. Cuts off Gail Fund. Margaret Brady now tries to go by. Back to block on her is Joyce Beasley, number 3 of the Braves. Each team has a potential scorer. Brady takes the lead on the jam now, moving in behind Loretta Little Iodine Behrens. Watch the action at the rear of the pack as time is growing short on this jam. Behrens blocking, Beasley blocking as each team tries to score here. Number 4 in the dark uniform, number 56 in the light are the 2 skaters who might score. They're the only potential scorers on this jam. Time running out, and there is the end of the jam. No points scored as down go a couple of skaters. And here's trouble as Gail Fund and Margaret Brady tangle right in front of the officials, and they'll be quickly pulled apart. These were the 2 girls who battled and blocked each other on the jam for the entire 90 seconds. Just as the jam ended, down they went. On the track, they rolled on the track together and came up fifth flying. Man, a live action at the roller derby. As Gail Fund there, number 4 for the Braves, and number 56 of the Ravens, Margaret Brady, went at each other, fists flying, and it was a real battle. These 2 girls now will sit it out in the penalty box for their show of temper. So to the penalty box they go, and now we have a timeout called down below on the track. It's timeout in this roller derby game with a score. The Ravens 14 and the Braves 13. Back to action we go. 4 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in this skating period for the girls. It's 14-13. The Ravens lead the Braves here on the bank track. Action in America's fastest growing sport, the roller derby. And it's exciting action all the way. Each team will now skate one member short, as each team has a member in the penalty box. 4 aside now as the jammers try to get out. And you'll notice as you watch, there is only one jammer on each team, because it was a jammer in each case who drew the penalty for fighting down below on the last jam. Joanne Coons, number 52 of the Ravens. Mary Pocahontas Upel, number 8 for the Braves, are the jammers, and they're trying to work their way up now through the pack to get to the front. Watch them as they battle. The blocking is rough and tough. The girls block almost as hard as the men. They skate almost as fast, and they provide certainly as much excitement. Both jammers get out and flying now, and a couple of real good skaters they are. Mary Upel of the Braves, number 8, leading the way. Joanne Coons on the inside throws a good block and takes the lead. Number 52, Miss Pigtail. Joanne Coons out in front now as Mary Upel moves right in behind her. The blocking back in the pack as they try to slow each other up. And Upel with a block on Coons takes the lead. Watch Coons as she throws the elbow. Oh, real good block that time. Shook up Mary Upel, and Mary's unhappy. She has one of the fieriest tempers in roller derby. She won't take too much of that, and we'll have another flurry of excitement here. Here's Upel winding up and throws a block on Joanne Coons, and again goes out in front. And both girls are moving up on the back of that pack now. One jammer on each team. Here they come. Mary Upel, the leading jammer at the present time, and Joanne Coons right with her. Joyce Beasley and Loretta Behrens drop back to block. Coons blocks on Upel and takes the lead, and moves up now on Joyce Beasley at the back of the pack. Now watches Coons, tries to move in. Now Upel goes by again. She's the leading jammer, and a block back on Coons by Joyce Beasley. Moving in now, trying to score on Behrens. Goes Mary Upel, and down goes Joanne Coons. There's only one jammer remaining, and that's Mary Upel. Upel of the Braves trying to score now. At the back of the pack, Loretta Little Iodine Behrens of the Ravens back there to block on her. Joyce Beasley blocks Behrens. By goes Upel for a point. Moves up on Dolores Doss. Doss blocks now on Upel, trying to hold her back. She rides Upel off to the rail now, and time is out on the jam. Time runs out, and Upel and Beasley both go down on the track. As time ran out, and Mary Upel got by for 1 point to tie the score. It's 14-14. The Braves and the Ravens all tied up, 14 all. And two skaters, Joyce Beasley and Mary Upel, both went down, and Upel now takes a swing at Dolores Doss with her helmet as Dolores skates by. Then there's excitement and action at the roller derby, Elmer.
There's always excitement in roller derby, especially when we have one of the stoic temperament off the floor like Pocahontas Upel, a fireball. She looks like she should be in the prize fighting ring, actually. The Pocahontas is 22 years of roller derby bank track skating. It's a long time, Bob.
Boy, it sure is, and she can still fly on that bank track. All right, now it'll be Bobby Mateer, number 7, donning the striped helmet of the jammer. And number 52, Joanne Coons, remains the lone jammer for the Ravens, as jammers are in the penalty box for each team. Each team has but one jammer out. And Joanne Coons breaks out in front now for the Ravens. Number 52, Joanne Coons, and Behrens blocks back on Bobby Mateer to try and hold her back in the pack. Behrens blocking hard on Bobby Mateer. It's a tie game, 14-14. We have 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining now in the skating period for the girls. Joanne Coons out and winging as she's about a half a lap ahead now. From the time she broke out in front, she's allowed 90 seconds to try and round that track, catch up to an opponent, and score. And now the penalty time is up, and both teams have returned to full strength once again. The teams are at full strength. Sharon Stevens has come out wearing a jammer's helmet for the Ravens, and Gail Fund is out wearing a jammer's helmet, and here's a pull away by the Braves. The Brave skaters, all 5 of them, try to skate away now as Joanne Coons closes on them. There's a block on Mateer. Behrens races on the outside to the front of the pack. Dolores Doss joins her, and now they form a blocking pattern out in front to allow Joanne Coons to catch up. And Joanne is at the rear of the pack. Here's a block by Porter on Bobby Mateer. Coons trying to fight her way by. She goes by for 1 point. Moves up on Mary Upel now. Upel trying to block back on Joanne Coons. Coons has scored 1 point on Bobby Mateer. Mateer now is back up in the pack. But, of course, she still has that 1 point. And goes by Upel with a block from Jean Porter. 2 points now on the jam by Joanne Coons. She moves up once again. As time is getting short, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second to go, and time is out. The jam and the skating period have ended as Joanne Coons is sent sailing over the rail, and Mary Upel is sent crashing onto the track. And 2 points were scored on the play by Joanne Coons. Joanne Coons with 2 points, and now Mary Upel and Little Iodine Barons are in an argument. They've got their helmets off, and look out. These two are both fiery tempered. Joanne Coons was sent sailing over the rail just at the end of the jam, and then Mary Upel was dumped on the track. And now Barons is leading Joanne Coons away. And they're right now threatening to send Mary Upel from the track if she persists in arguing. And Gene Porter came by and took a slap at Mary Upel as she went by. Oh, man. Tempers are flaring now as we're preparing to change over and put the men's team on the track. At the end of the girls' skating period here, the score is the Ravens 16 and the Braves 14. The girls skating now in preparation for the changeover. And here to describe the changeover for you is a man who's been through it many times, Elmer Anderson.
The changeover, a traditional event in roller derby for the past 24 years that roller derby has been in existence this coming August 17th. Many people wonder why such a dangerous maneuver has been left in, but it's the skater's own desire. It's a thrilling maneuver, and this is where the girls turn over the track officially to the men for the second skating period. Wherever he skates, every leg has to be in perfect synchronization, and every skater in his own hearts and mind hoping that everything will be okay as it is right now. And so the men take over for the second skating period with the score all tied up, 14-16 in favor of the Raven team. Play-by-play announcer Bob Robertson will describe this one.
All right, Elmer, and away we go once again in the roller derby. Tremendous exciting action as the men take the track. Mary Upel has been ejected from the game for her part in that last fracas. She is out for the night. And now out as the leading jammer is number 56, little Frank Macedo for the Ravens. Macedo is the leading jammer, and he is out and flying. Big Hal Janowitz, number 51, blocking back there on number 6, Bob Mayo. And Mayo goes off onto the infield of the track. He'll have to go back now into the pack as Janowitz blocks on him. Here comes Macedo, closing fast on the rear of the pack. And number 3, one of the most feared and deadly blockers in roller derby, Big Red Smart, is back to block for the Braves. Macedo moves up, a little man trying to score on Big Red Smart. Here's the first block by Smart. He leaned on Macedo. He can belt, too. There's the elbow to the midriff. Macedo tries to take Red Smart. Now he's got a blocker. Don Richmond, number 52, back to help him. Macedo moves up. Smart blocks on Richmond, then goes for Macedo. Rides him high into the rail. It's Red Smart blocking on Frank Macedo, number 56. And Bob Mayo of the Braves is out there now on the jam and coming up. They try to whip, and down goes Macedo, and the lead jammer went down. The jam is off. It was Don Richmond there, number 52, that you see sitting on the track, tried to whip Frank Macedo to get him by Red Smart. Smart actually outmaneuvered him on that one, upset them, and they both went down hard on the track. And when that leading jammer fell, of course, the jam was off. And now Smart has gone to the infield to argue something out with the officials. I think he's claiming that he was held by the jersey on the play. There's Big Red, one of the roughest, toughest, and yet finest roller derby performers. There's a guy who, blocking-wise, has few, if any, equals. Certainly no peers in roller derby today. Once again, the pack is forming. And now, number 4, George Copeland, has donned the jamming helmet for the Braves, who, as you'll notice, are one player short. Mary Upel's penalty being served out by Mark Ladonio of the men's team. Janowitz, number 51, wearing the solid helmet, cannot score, but gives a whip to Frank Macedo, and away goes Frank. Julian Silva, number 53, is with him on the jam, and here comes Red Smart, blocks out on Silva. Smart after Macedo. Watch this big man slow down the two jammers now. A great strategist and a great blocker. Smart blocks back on Silva. And George Copeland, the jammer, gets out now for the Braves as the two Raven jammers get out in front of Red Smart. Silva and Macedo. Here's a whip to Copeland. Copeland ducks beautifully through the two Raven skaters. And now flying Georgie Copeland is out in front. Watch him go. Man alive, can this Copeland skate. Long-legged, lean, light. He can really move around that bank track. George Copeland out in front. After him, Julian Silva. And tremendous blocking in the pack. Tremendous blocking. Here's Copeland by for 3 points. George Copeland goes by for 3 points for the Braves. A great skating performance by Georgie Copeland. He gets his 4th point of the game and puts the Braves out in front of the Ravens 17-16. We have 8.5 minutes left in the skating period now. You might be interested in making note of this fact, that the only skaters allowed to rest up on the rail while the pack is reforming are those skaters who were jammers on the immediately preceding jam. Only those men or girls who were jammers are allowed to go up on the rail and take a lap or two rest while the pack reforms. Anyone else who was a blocker or not in the game up there resting will draw a 2-minute penalty for delay of the game. Now Janowitz goes out to block and sends Frank Macedo out in front. Julian Silva goes with him. Here comes Red Smart. Macedo, number 56, the lead jammer for the Ravens. It's 17-16, the Braves lead. We're in the 6th skating period of the game. Red Smart moves up on the inside now, blocks on Macedo. To the outside goes Silva. Smart weaving and wiggling across the front of the track there. It's only 10 feet wide. They don't have much room to go by. Here's Janowitz up to block on Smart. The Raven coach gives a whip now to Julian Silva. And Smart gives a whip to George Copeland. And 2 great skaters are out at the head of that jam right now with Frank Macedo, another good one following. Silva is the jam leader now. George Copeland right on his heels and closing as they move up on the rear of the pack, and Red Smart drops back to block along with Hal Janowitz, number 51 of the Ravens. Silva moves up. Little Julian Silva. Copeland blocks on Macedo, and down he goes hard against the rail. Now the 2 lead jammers eyeing each other at the back of the pack as they move up. Time getting short for them. They race for the pack. By goes George Copeland. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Check that. They'll give him 3. He didn't quite make it by Don Richmond. George Copeland again picks up a 3-pointer. That Georgie Copeland can really fly. He got fine blocking in the pack and raced by for 3 points. Couldn't quite make it by Don Richmond and wound up with 3 on the play. And now we have a timeout called down below. Timeout called by the Braves on the track with a score. The Braves 20 and the Ravens 16. Some changes in the lineup now. Number 54, Dave Battersby of the Ravens. Number 55, Butch Nur have both come into the game. And they will both be in there as jammers. They're wearing the striped helmets. And remember, only those players with a striped helmet may score points or cut off the jam. They start at the rear of the pack. They try to work their way to the front. Watch big Butch Nur as he goes to the outside. Fights with Red Smart at the head of the pack there. Smart a blocker. Very seldom jams, but he is a great blocker. Once in a while, Red will wear that striped helmet. Janowitz and Copeland break out now. Copeland a jammer for the Braves, and Hal Janowitz, the coach, a blocker for the Ravens. Watch this battle. A block by Janowitz, and he's a good one, number 51. Copeland tries to race on the outside, and he's a great skater. 2 tremendous skaters performing at the head of the pack now. The jam is underway as George Copeland got out in front, and they started the time on the jam. Copeland trying to battle around Janowitz, and here goes Battersby. Battersby of the Ravens, number 54, as Janowitz held up on George Copeland. Copeland goes to the rail, and he has taken a real physical beating there from Hal Janowitz. Ladonio tries to go out, blocked off by Nur, and now Red Smart skates across in front of the pack. Out in front there now and racing is Gene Kuklowitz. And after him goes big Butch Nur. Dave Battersby is the lead jammer. These 2 are the secondary jammers at the moment, and they could conceivably close up and be a scoring threat before the play is over. Battersby now is closing on the back of the pack. Red Smart back to block on him. 2 big, strong young men. Watch the action as Smart blocks on Battersby. Battersby tries again in his block. Smart again blocks on Battersby. Down goes Copeland. And Smart tries to grab him by the jersey to keep him on his feet and did a fine job there. There's a battle at the back of the pack now between Copeland and Battersby, and down goes Dave Battersby. And he was the lead jammer. That cuts off the jam with no score. Tremendous action at the roller derby. And this is just typical of the excitement, the thrills, and spills that you'll see anytime you attend a roller derby match. As Battersby there of the Ravens was finally dumped. And of course, anytime that lead jammer goes down on the track, There's Dave Battersby, tall young fellow with tremendous speed and power. Anytime that lead jammer goes down, that immediately cuts off the jam. And in that case, no points were scored. The Raven Jammers, Nur number 55 and Battersby number 54, are at the back of the pack. Gene Kuklovsky, number 2, and George Copeland, number 4, waiting to join the group now. They'll drop in there along the straightaway. And in just a moment, there it is. The whistle sounds, and here we go again. We have 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in the skating period. Nur trying to get around Red Smart. Oh, look at that block by Red Smart. Man, that kid can hit. Nur can't get by. He was doubled up that time by Red Smart's elbow. He may have picked one off in the face. And now George Copeland flies out in front, and Janowitz goes out after him, number 51. Again, these two great skaters, a speedster and a blocker. And here's a great block by Janowitz to slow up Copeland. Janowitz, a blocker only, cannot score. Copeland is the jammer. That solid helmet means that Janowitz is not able to score or cut off the jam. Tremendous blocking. And Battersby goes by to take the lead as Copeland goes onto the rail. Dave Battersby of the Ravens once again is out in front and flying. Watch that Battersby go, and watch that blocking now in the pack as they come right into your living room. Tremendous blocking. These boys play for keeps all the way. Battersby now closing on the rear of that pack. He is the only jammer out. No other jammer for either team was able to get out and stay there. Smart and Copeland now at the rear of the pack, waiting for Dave Battersby there, number 54. Here comes Battersby. Just a young fella, tremendous speed and stamina. Smart belted him with a good block, and another. Smart again blocks on Battersby. Look at that blocking by Husky Red Smart. He's a big fella, 200-pounder. Now it's Copeland blocking on Battersby. And Copeland, who took some vicious blocking earlier in this jam, wants to hand some out now, and Smart dumps Battersby, and down he goes on the track. And the jam again is off as Red Smart really battled Battersby and dumped him on the track. And now Red Smart has raced into the infield once again to argue with the officials. Smart down behind the Raven bench beside their penalty box, arguing now with the officials about some infraction that he feels was committed by the Ravens. There they are. See number 3. Smart is waved back onto the track, and he's still jawing away at the referee. 1 minute and 50 seconds left now in the skating period for the men. Jammers' helmets being worn by George Copeland, number 4, and Gene Kuklovsky, number 2, for the Braves in the dark uniforms. Dave Battersby, number 54, and Big Butch Nur, number 55, wearing the striped helmets of the Jammers for the light uniformed Ravens. Nur tries to go to the outside. Smart waits, rides him into the rail. It's still Nur and Smart. Here's Copeland breaking out in front. Got a whip that time to send him away. Janowitz again goes after Copeland. These two are not buddies, but they're sticking close together tonight. Now Battersby gets out the jam. A great block by Janowitz. Another one on Copeland. Here comes Battersby. Battersby takes the lead on the jam again. And down goes Copeland, real hard. Copeland went down. He bounced when he hit. And Battersby there is your lead jammer. Copeland down again, as again Janowitz got him. And coming up on the rear of the pack now is Dave Battersby, literally flying. Those wheels must be red hot. Here comes Battersby. Great speed. These boys go more than 40 miles an hour at times on this bank track. Battersby moves up on Red Smart. Janowitz back to block on Smart. And Smart back there to try and keep Battersby from scoring for the Ravens. 2016, the Braves out in front. We have 25 seconds left now in this skating period. Down goes Copeland. By goes Battersby. Smart fell over Copeland. 2 points for Battersby. 4 points for Battersby. Only Kuklovsky has not been passed. And Don Ricksman is trying to block on him. Here comes Battersby trying to make it a grand slam 5-pointer. 8 seconds to go. Battersby racing after Gene Kuklovsky, number 2. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. The skating period is over, and it's a 4-pointer for Dave Battersby. What sensational play by the Ravens on that one. Look out, Smart and Battersby are starting to push each other over on the far turn now. And now Smart shoves Janowitz, and down goes Janowitz. And they're trying to get at each other. Smart and Janowitz trying to go at it. The men's skating period is over. Janowitz went in to separate Smart and Battersby, and Smart gave Hal a push, and down went Janowitz, and he didn't like that a bit. Now Smart is after one of the officials here in the infield, as tempers once again flared, and the men will now turn the track over to the girls. We're going now to the 7th skating period of the game. The score is tied on that 4-pointer by Battersby. It's now the Braves 20, the Ravens 20. Now once again the girls take the track. This is the final skating period for the girls. Red Smart was given a penalty on that last altercation. So the Braves will have a girl in the penalty box as the period gets underway. There will be 4 Braves, 5 Ravens on the track. Barbara O'Leary will serve out the penalty. The changeover is complete, and we're ready to go. The Brave Jammers are number 5, Bertha Ruiz, and number 7, Bobby Mateer, considered one of the fastest female skaters in the game. And the Jammers for the Ravens are number 54, Loretta Little Iodine Behrens, and number 52, Joanne Coons. Watch as the striped helmet skaters try to work their way to the front of the pack and get the jam officially underway. 20-20 the score. The final skating period for the girls. No Jammers out in front yet. There goes Bobby Mateer of the Braves, number 7. Bobby Mateer off and flying. Her red hair sailing in the breeze behind. After her goes Iodine Behrens and Bertha Ruiz of the Braves. Behrens, number 54, blocks on Ruiz, and down goes Ruiz. Now we have 1 Jammer out from each team. Watch the action. As Behrens threw a body block that time, and Bobby Mateer missed and went down on the track. So Bobby Mateer is now the lone skater out in front on the jam. The lone jammer in front is Bobby Mateer. Moving up on the rear of the pack, Dolores Doss back to block on her. Dolores rolling up her sleeves as Bobby Mateer moves in at the back of the pack. Watch the action here now as Mateer tries to score for the Braves. Here we go. Bobby, number 7 there, winding up high on the rail, looking for that burst of speed to send her by Dolores Doss. Dolores blocks on her, couldn't get by that time. Tries to go away to the outside. Will now get a block from teammate Joyce Beasley, number 3. Doss and Behrens back in the light uniforms to block now. Here's a block on Doss by Beasley, but Doss again blocked on Bobby Mateer, and Bobby could not get by. She'll have to try once more now. Time growing short on the jam. Dolores Doss. Beasley missed her again. Mateer tries to go by, and it looks like she may have done it. Here's a block by Doss again. Don't know whether she got by or not. Here's a whip now that sends Bobby Mateer high on the track. 2 seconds, 1 second to go. Another block by Doss. She got 1 point. Bobby Mateer had 1 point as time ran out. And the Braves take the lead once again, 21-20. 4th point of the game for Bobby Mateer. And it's 21-20 now in favor of the Braves over the Ravens. Gail Fund is now wearing a striped helmet for the Braves, number 4. There she is. Gail will be out there as a jammer now, along with number 5, Bertha Ruiz. Loretta Behrens, Little Iodine, number 54. And Joanne Coons, number 52, will wear the jammers' helmets for the Ravens. All set once again. All 4 jammers at the back of the pack. They must start from there, except at the start of the game and the start of the second half. Those are the only 2 times in which the jammers start at the head of the pack, and immediately the jam is underway. The jam doesn't start till 1 jammer gets out in front. The Braves have the front 2 blocking spots. The penalty time is up now, and both teams are at full strength once again as Barbara O'Leary, number 6, is in there for the Braves. And here's Joanne Coons of the Ravens moving out in front. Bertha Ruiz gets a whip from Bobby Mateer and sails on by to take the lead. Coons and Ruiz now battle for the front spot. Joanne Coons, number 52. Bertha Ruiz of the Braves, number 5. As they race out in front now, they are the jammers. No other jammers out at the present time. Coons blocks on Ruiz and moves out in front. Ruiz stays right with her. Look at the blocking there as the Ravens now try to slow up the pack. to allow Joanne Coons, who at the moment has the lead on the Jam, to come up and score. Now Ruiz goes to the inside, blocks back on Joanne Coons, and then moves out in front. Bobby Mateer drops back to block for the Braves. Dolores Doss and Jan Vallow back to block for the Ravens. Both the leading Jammers up there, battling now to try and get by and score. Each team has a potential scorer. Watch the action here. Either or both may score on this Jam. Vallow blocked, and by goes Ruiz and cuts it off. Bertha Ruiz got by as Jan Vallow was blocked, went down, and Ruiz went by, scored 1 point, and then placed her hands on her hips to cut off the Jam. The Braves lead 22-20. 1 point on that one for the Braves. There's Bertha Ruiz. Not very big. But man alive, can she fly on that track. Just amazing the way these kids skate. Well, now with a jamming helmet, Joyce Beasley, number 3, and Gail Fund, number 4 of the Braves. Joanne Coons still wearing one for the Ravens, number 52. So is Loretta Behrens, number 54. They'll pick up Bobby Mateer along this side of the track. There she is to take the blocking position up front. And away we go. The blocking action starts in the pack, and now watch as the Jammers try to get through to the front. Only the Jammers can score. Only a Jammer can cut off the Jam, and only the lead Jammer at that can cut it off. They have penalties for various things, 2- and 5-minute penalties. We have 6 minutes and 40 seconds now remaining in this skating period, the last skating period of the game for the girls. Now a Jammer breaks out in front, Joyce Beasley of the Braves. The Braves leading 22-20. Beasley, number 3 there, flies out in front. So far, the Ravens do not have a Jammer out there. Their Jammer still at the back of the pack. Blocking is hard now. Now it's the Braves trying to slow up the pack and allow teammate Joyce Beasley to come around from behind and score. She gets 1 point for every member of the opposition she is able to lap. Here's Iodine Behrens now breaking out to the outside. Bobby Mateer trying to prevent her from going out in front as a Jammer. Mateer and Behrens battle at the head of the pack as Joyce Beasley is still the only Jammer out, and now goes Joanne Coons, number 52, and Iodine Behrens. There are now 2 Jammers out there for the Ravens, but Joyce Beasley of the Braves has a big, big lead. Here's Beasley now sweeping up on the rear of the pack. Those 2 you're watching right there are the Raven Jammers, but Beasley moves up on Dolores Doss. Now he'll try to score for the Braves. Watch the action. Doss ready to block. Throws one block, throws another. Beasley not by yet. Bobby Mateer trying to whip Beasley by. Here's a cutoff by Joyce Beasley as 2 Raven skaters on the Jam came up from behind. Joyce Beasley saw Coons and Behrens of the Ravens coming up behind her and immediately signaled for the cutoff on the play, hands on hips. And so there were no points. And now we have a timeout called on the track below. Roller derby timeout. 5 minutes and 16 seconds left to go in the skating period for the girls. And the score at this timeout, the Braves 22 and the Ravens 20. Now here we go with roller derby action once again. The Braves and the Ravens. It's 22-20. The Braves out in front. The 7th period of the game, the final skating period for the girls. Bertha Ruiz there, number 5, and Sharon Stevens battling at the head of the pack as the Jammers try to work their way up. The Jam time does not start until a Jammer in the striped helmet breaks to the front. Lots of blocking back there. Bobby Mateer and Barbara O'Leary are the Jammers this time around for the Braves. And there's Dolores Doss, number 51, breaking out in front now and skating for the Ravens. Doss, the Jammer, number 51. No Brave skaters out there yet. The only Jammer out at the present time is Dolores Doss. Barbara O'Leary trying to get out, but Loretta Behrens blocks back on her. Doss straightening her helmet as she flies around that track. Still no other Jammer out. Bobby Mateer now tries to get out of there on the outside. She's blocked back by Behrens, and Dolores Doss is moving up as the 4 Raven skaters back in the pack try to hold back and not allow the Braves to get through. Referee warns them, no interlocking interference, so they get the arms apart. Now Bobby Mateer breaks out of there as a Jammer for the Braves. Here's Doss moving up. Tries to fight her way by Joyce Beasley. Beasley blocking back on Dolores Doss. Doss on that high bank track now. Tries to get the burst of speed to break by. Good blocking in the back of the pack. Doss goes by for 1 point. Moves up now on Gail Fund. She has 1 point scored already. Trying to get by Beasley again. She's already scored on Beasley. Here's Bobby Mateer, who races through. Past everybody. Bobby Mateer got 4 points. Bobby Mateer broke through, scored 4 points. Dolores Doss picked up 1. As Bobby did a real fine job that time, sneaking around from behind. And while all attention was on Dolores Doss, Bobby Mateer cut through and scored 4 points. So Bobby now has scored 8 points in the game. A real fine play. It's 26-21 now in favor of the Braves. The Braves lead the Ravens by 5, and we have 3 minutes remaining in this skating period for the girls. Behrens and Porter, number 54 and 53, will jam for the Ravens. Number 7, Mateer, and number 3 will do the jamming out there now. That's Beasley for the Braves. All right, here we go once again. The first whistle has sounded as the jammers were all at the rear of the pack. Now they try to fight their way through and will try to score from there. Watch them as they try to get at least one jammer through to get the jam underway. No jammer out there yet, but tremendous blocking, action, and excitement here at the roller derby. The men have one more 12-minute skating period yet to go. Now here's a whip coming up that'll send Joyce Beasley out for the Braves, and the jam is underway. The jam is started. Joyce Beasley, number 3, and she can move. The blocking in the pack now gets rough as the Braves try to hold the Ravens back. Behrens with a block on Ruiz, and both Behrens and Porter break out of there. 2 skaters out now on the jam for the Ravens. The Braves have 1, and she has the lead. Here she comes, Joyce Beasley, moving up in the rear of the pack. Back there to block is Dolores Doss. Doss back to block. Beasley moves up. They're ready. First block by Doss as Beasley tries to go by. An elbow thrown by Doss that time. Mateer back to help out her teammate. Bobby Mateer back to block. Here come the 2 Ravens. Down on the play. And by for 2 points they go. They've got 8 points. 2 girls have 4 points apiece. It's 8 points for the Ravens so far. And now they're coming up on Joyce Beasley. If they could get by, they'd have 10 points. And you won't see that happen very often. Beasley watching for a chance to block as time grows short now on the jam. Behrens catches up to Beasley. Porter is also there. They're both by for 4 points so far. They're right up there with Beasley now. It's a race now for 2 more points. Let's see if they make it or not. As Joyce Beasley races to prevent this one. Down goes one Raven. Down goes Porter, and the jam is off. As Joyce Beasley dumped Iodine Behrens there and Jean Porter. But not before the Ravens had scored 8 points on the jam. A tremendous performance by the Ravens on that one. Well, not very often will you see 8 points scored. Of course, a maximum of 10 is possible. Beasley and Behrens are having words now, and Behrens dumped Beasley on the track up here on the near turn. And Iodine Behrens now has been waved off the track. And now Bobby Mateer dumps Behrens down on the far turn. And Behrens is up and after Bobby Mateer, and the referees have to step in between them. And here comes Joyce Beasley in now. She wants something more to say to Iodine Behrens. And once again, tempers flare at the roller derby. And in a game moving at this speed, it's easy to understand why. Iodine Behrens and Bobby Mateer about to square off now. Behrens skating in on Mateer. And they're at it now in the infield. Look at them go. Couple of redheads, and they've got redheaded tempers. Bobby Mateer winds up to throw a haymaker, and Red Smart steps in to pull them apart. The other skaters still circling the track out there, as a couple of fights almost broke out. And we'll get the rundown on the penalties here in just a moment. It looks like one for each team now. Each team will be skating one man short as the men take over the track for the final skating period of the game. And the score, as we get to the changeover, the Ravens 29 and the Braves 26. 29-26. The Ravens over the Braves. Now to the changeover. The girls turning the track over to the men's skaters. Bertha Ruiz there gave Red Smart a push to get him underway. He sure needs a shove to get him moving, Elmer. That guy can literally fly out there while throwing blocks at the same time. All right, the men now have the track. 4 aside as each team is serving out a penalty. And worthwhile knowing that when a penalty occurs at the end of a skating period, either the men's or the women's, a member of the team taking the track must serve out the penalty. So in this case, the men are serving out the penalties picked up by the girls. That's George Copeland, number 4, out as the jammer. Julian Silva, number 53, another flyer, breaks out now as a jammer for the Ravens. Silva trying to catch up to Copeland. Here are 2 of the fastest male skaters in the roller derby. Silva holds a quarter-mile time trial record. Here's a double whip that sends Copeland by for 3 points, and he cuts it off. That one you had to see to believe. As Copeland whipped Red Smart, Smart just held on to him and gave him the whip. Really a double whip that time that sent Copeland by for 3. So that ties the score. And that is the 10th point of the game for George Copeland. High scorer among the men so far in the game. Now it's 29-29. We are in the final skating period of the contest. Out in the infield there on the table, Bobby Mateer, who was dumped during that series of altercations at the end of the girls' skating period, is being worked over by the doctor, who is in attendance at all these roller derby games. There's Bobby, and number 55 there, the blonde girl, is Sharon Stevens of the Ravens. All right, now back in the pack, skating 4 aside and looking for the opening. Here's another style of double whip that sends Copeland out in front again. The Ravens have only 1 jammer out there, as it was a jammer for the Ravens that picked up the penalty. Copeland is out and flying, and here comes Big Butch Nur after him. 4 is Copeland. 55 there is Butch Nur of the Ravens. As they race around this Masonite track at speeds of 40 miles an hour and better. Moving up now in the rear of the pack. Penalty time is up for the Braves, and Mark Ladonio is coming into the contest. Here's a whip that sends Copeland by. 1, 2, 3 points again. Once again, George Copeland picks up 3 points on a whip. And that's 13 points for George Copeland. Man alive, is he scoring points. There's Bobby Mateer still on that rubbing table. May have picked up a Charlie horse down there. All right, here we go now. It's a 32-29 game, and the Braves lead the Ravens. The Ravens still have a man in the penalty box, Frank Macedo, serving that penalty. There's still 1 jammer short. Here's a whip to send Copeland out in front. Smart gives him another one, and Copeland and Hal Janowitz battle for the lead. A block by Janowitz. Another block. Another. Janowitz again works on Copeland. Oh, that Janowitz is a nemesis for Copeland. Copeland can't get by him. Every time they get out there together, Copeland takes a terrible beating. Battersby now with a block and goes by. Another block on Copeland, and George goes to the rail and skates backwards. Tremendous balance. Smart will try to give Copeland a whip there, but Battersby is away out in front. The Ravens have the skater out and winging now. The Braves lead 32-29. We have a minute left on the jam. 1 minute left in which to score. Here's Dave Battersby. Big fella, and he can fly. Red Smart back to block. Number 51, Janowitz, back to help out his teammate. A block by Smart. Now watch the action at the rear. There, number 54 in the striped helmet trying to score. Here's a whip by Janowitz. No, he faked the whip. Sends him inside. He scores on Smart. And Smart blocks on Janowitz as Copeland blocks back on Battersby. And a cutoff finally given. Cutoff given on the play. And so, on that one, we had a point scored. Penalty time is up now, and Frank Macedo comes into the game. There's Frank, number 56, coming onto the track. It's 32-30. The Braves lead the Ravens. 32-30. 7 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in this final skating period and in the game. The Braves lead by 2 points. Looks like Dave Battersby now has gone onto the rubbing table. No. All right, here we go. Now the girls have reclaimed the table down there. All right, here we go. Battersby and Macedo will be in there jamming. Here's Copeland around on the outside. Janowitz with him again. Janowitz a blocker, not a jammer. Copeland is the jammer. Watch this Janowitz block on Copeland now as Copeland tries to fake his way by. Look at that blocking. Tremendous. Here's Battersby. He goes by and he's out in front as the lead jammer. Dave Battersby, number 54, is out in front. He is just flying. Now Copeland goes winging out after him. And the blocking gets pretty rough back in the pack now. The lead jammer is Dave Battersby. Right behind him is George Copeland, number 4 of the Braves. Teams watching those jammers now, trying to figure out those blocking assignments, whether they want to get their team out in front or hold the opposition back. Now both jammers are close together as they come up to the pack. Red Smart and number 52 of the Ravens, Don Ricksman, are back to do the blocking. Now watch. These two trying to outsmart each other there to get up and score. A block on Battersby. Copeland goes by, 4 points, and cuts it off. 4 points for George Copeland. And for Copeland, that is the 17th point of the game. A tremendous performance here by George Copeland as the Braves lead the Ravens 36-30. And down below on the track now, we have a timeout called with 5 minutes and 44 seconds left in the game, and the score at the timeout, the Braves 36 and the Ravens 30. The men on the track have 5 minutes and 44 seconds remaining now in which to settle the issue here tonight. It's 36-30 in favor of the Braves over the Ravens. And here we go. The team's at full strength. The jammers at the rear of the pack now trying to work their way up. The 90-second jam time will start when one jammer gets to the front. Only those with the striped helmets may score by lapping the field and passing a member of the opposing team. You must gain an entire lap on an opponent to score on him. Red Smart there out in front, loosening up those elbows and shoulders now for some blocking. He's number 3. Here comes Copeland on the outside, and Janowitz tried to cut him off. And once again, it's Janowitz and Copeland. And Janowitz works on Copeland once again. Copeland will never want to see Janowitz again the way this game is going. And here comes Battersby on the inside as they repeat an earlier pattern, and Red Smart went down hard on the track, and the fans loved that. Because Red is one of the roughest, toughest of all the roller derby skaters. He hands it out, and he can take it, too. Battersby out in front as the blocking is rugged there in the pack. Red Smart now at the front of the pack once again blocking. Battersby moving up at the rear. Battersby better than half a lap ahead now as he races up on that pack. Watch Dave. He's the boy who can score. And the blocking continues there in the pack. There are 3 Braves dropping back to block, but Red Smart is the big man. Red is back there to block on almost every jam. He's at the rear now, waiting for Dave Battersby. He gets that elbow ready. Here comes Battersby. Battersby moves up on Red Smart. Smart bangs him with that elbow. Copeland is also back there. Janowitz drops back to help out Battersby now to block on Smart. He takes Smart, 1 point. Now Battersby tries to go to Copeland and is blocked out by Smart, who comes back up again, but 1 point has been scored. Smart has been scored on. And here's a block, and down goes Battersby. Let's see if he scored a second point on Copeland or not. We'll get the official ruling on that in just a moment. The officials conferring now in the infield whether it was 1 point or 2. 2 points is the ruling for Dave Battersby. The ruling is 2 points for Dave Battersby, who did get by. There's Dave, a big young fellow with tremendous potential. He's going to be a great roller derby skater. He is a mighty fine one right now. 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. It's 36-32. And Red Smart now is on the infield arguing with the official about the scoring of that second point. Red doesn't think so. And Red is waved off the track. It's a penalty for Red Smart, and now look at him. is disgusted. And now are underway on the track once again as Red Smart goes to the penalty box. Here's Copeland breaking out in front. George Copeland got a good block, goes out in front. And after him goes Julian Silva. It's 36-32. The Braves lead the Ravens. Silva coming up on Copeland, and Copeland cut it off. Elmer, what about that cutoff play, 4 points ahead? Smart play?
Yes, it is, because they're stalling now, Bob. They're running out the clock with only 2 minutes and 35 seconds remaining. What the Braves are trying to do with their big top blocker, the defense gun, the big Red Smart, is in the penalty box. So now orders are obviously from Red Smart, who is acting coach of this game in the absence of Russ Masro, to get the lead of the play and call it off. It's smart tactics.
Smart tactics, Elmer, from Red Smart. It's down to 2 minutes and 17 seconds now. Here's Copeland racing out in front. George Copeland of the Braves again has the lead. And after him goes Battersby and Silva, 54 and 53. Copeland out in front, hasn't cut it off yet. Now he does. George Copeland again cut it off. And as Elmer Anderson, himself a great roller derby skater for many years, just told you, that is the heady play at this time. 1 minute and 51 seconds now remain in the game. Red Smart there, number 3, was up out of the penalty box, and the referee just waved him back into it, told him to stay there. The Braves are 1 man short, and the man they are short is their great blocker and leader, Red Smart. Once again, they're forming the jam. There's Red. He's still standing up in front of that penalty box watching, exhorting his teammates to once again get that lead and hold it, and then cut it off and kill time. 36-32 the score. Janowitz, a blocker, gets out in front. Now out after him goes George Copeland. Copeland trying to get out in front. Here comes Battersby. He will get a whip, and Battersby goes by, and he's out in front. 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. And so the jam time and the game time are both the same now. He would have 90 seconds to score. Smart is back on the track. Red's penalty time is up, and he's back out there. Now George Copeland gets a whip from Red Smart, and Copeland goes out in front. But no, they'll wave him back. They said that's illegal. Smart didn't wait for the pack. Now here comes Battersby. He has 40 seconds. Around the outside, going in front is Ray Novak. Here's Battersby moving up on the rear of the pack. He needs 5 points now to win the game. He has 30 seconds. Smart back to block on Battersby. Gives him one elbow. Another. As Mayo stumbled against the rail, and there's a point for Battersby. Battersby goes by for one more as Kukowski went down. Smart still blocking on Battersby. Red Smart blocking with 14 seconds to go. He has 2 points. He needs 3 more. Smart still blocking. Here comes Mayo now on the outside. Check that, Novak. He's blocked back. Now we have 4 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and time runs out. 2 points on the play. Let's see, 3. Check it, 3 points. He got 1 more just as time ran out. Battersby picked up 3 points on the play, and time runs out. The game is over, and the Braves have won it. And it was a real thriller. The Braves winning by a score of 36-35. Elmer Anderson, what would you say about that game?
I'd say it was one of the most smart heads-up games. It's been our pleasure to bring to you, fans, wherever you're watching roller derby tonight. Remember, nothing would give Bob and I greater pleasure than to see you down here in person, wherever roller derby might be appearing in your city or nearby. Bob, do you agree with me?
Sure do, Elmer, and I might add here that George Copeland tonight, in addition to playing a great game, scored a total of 17 points, George Copeland of the Braves. So there you have it. The game is all over, and you've been watching America's fastest-growing sport, the exciting roller derby. A final reminder of that final score, the Braves 36, the Ravens 35.